Is it ready? Yes, it is. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. For those who are watching for the very first time, we are a non-denominational spiritist center, and we respect all religions, all spiritual traditions. So you are welcome to bring your thoughts, your questions. This is a safe space for us to learn together, to grow together. So be welcome to share with us what you're thinking. Before we start the announcements, we always begin our service with a prayer. So I would like to ask our dear sister Sunshine to do our opening prayer. If you're not speaking, please make sure you have your microphone muted.
Thank you, Kiki. So let us close our eyes and let us open our inner eyes, connecting with our feet to Mother Earth with gratitude in our hearts. Let us also connect with our breath, taking conscious and deep inhales and exhales. While we keep breathing consciously, let us visualize that God's love is entering our lungs, and all thoughts and feelings, all sentiments that are not aligned with God's love are leaving our physical body, our auric form. And we continue to breathe as we say hello to our hearts and our heart center, the heart chakra, with gratitude for keeping us connected to our bodies and to everyone else and everything else around us in both realms, in all realms. Let us breathe into our hearts. And let us say hello to God, first cause of all things. Let us say hello to Jesus, our guide and model, our older brother who came before us, lighting our path. And let us warmly welcome all the healing doctors and mentors of this group, in particular Dr. Becerra, Dr. Paulo, Sister Shayla, and so many more. Let us embrace our own mentors, again with gratitude for their service. And let us also warmly welcome all the spirits and helper spirits who are here this morning, attending this meeting just like we do, with an open heart and an open mind, focusing on the words that will touch our ears during this session. We pray that our sister will be guided by her mentors and the mentors of this group. And we pray that our focus will be strong so we can actually not only understand the lesson, but feeling it so deeply that we can't other than practice what we will be hearing and learning today. With gratitude for this moment, we humbly ask for permission to begin. And so be it, and so it is. Thank you, God. Thank you.
So it is. Thank you, sister, for the beautiful prayer. Look who's here, Ian. Say hi. What do you want to say to Olivia?
Hello.
Soon we'll have to have a youth session, probably. Lovely. All right, everyone. So as I was saying, thank you so much, sister, for the prayer. BSH is a member of the United States Spiritist Federation, and our spiritual beliefs are based around scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of Spiritism. And as Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, taught us, knowledge and love are the two wings for our spiritual evolution. And that's the reason why the service here is divided in two parts. First, we always have someone speaking and sharing findings from remarkable and qualified mediums and spirits. And during this moment, it is really important that you participate with your active listening. Your mentor is already supporting you in your needs while you are hearing insights from the speaker. So we highly encourage you to have a piece of paper and to write down your notes, so then you can reflect about that along the week and carry these reflections for you to sustain the energy that you are absolutely receiving while you're here in the center. And the second part, we have a hands-on healing pass where your mentor will be working with BSH mediums and all the manufacturers of the good for you to receive the healing energy needed for you, however you need. We know that this is a journey, the spiritual evolution is a journey. So it's not only the fact that we are here studying, but also receiving the passes. So we do have plenty of opportunities for us to be together. So I'm going to share my screen here so you can all see that if you go to bshcenter.org/events, you should be able to see everything that we have available for us to be together. So on Sundays from 10 to 11-ish Pacific time, you will have the educational presentation and the healing passes. Everybody's welcome to join us. We also have daily prayers starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time too. Usually it takes 15, 20 minutes, depending on how many people we have in the room. Everybody's welcome to emanate positive energies for yourself and for everybody else who is in need. So please join us. We also offer fraternal counseling. This is by appointment only because it's individual. So if you want someone to talk, to vent, if you need us to pray with you, we are here for you. Don't feel alone. Usually it's Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. But if you need any other time, do let us know. Send us a message. If you have our phone number, text us. If you want to just send through email, it's info@bshcenter.org, and we'll be happy to assign someone to talk to. We also have book study groups. Yeah, sorry. We also have book study groups, and all the studies start at 6:30 p.m. On Sunday, we just started a book called Missionaries of the Light, written by André Luiz via Chico Xavier, an amazing book. Everybody's welcome to join us. On Tuesdays, we are studying the book The Consoler. It's via Emmanuel through Chico Xavier as well. And this one is done in collaboration with the Divine Light Spiritist group, led by our dear sister Sunshine. It's in the same Zoom link, so everybody's welcome to join us as well. On Wednesdays, we are reading the book Heaven and Hell, an amazing book written by Allan Kardec. And on Thursdays, we are reading the book Living Spring, an amazing book too, written by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. Now, it's important that if you didn't start the book with us, you can pick up really quickly. The group is going to support you, I'm sure. So you don't have to worry in case you were not, like at the very beginning of the study group. Everybody's welcome to join us. And we also have mediumship services, and those are on Mondays starting at 6:30 p.m. The first hour is an education of mediumship principles, and this one, it's only an education for those who have already completed the first part of the study, which is Introduction to Spiritism. So you have to, if you are interested, let us know, we'll help you. But first you have to do the first study, which is Introduction to Spiritism. And once you're done with that, then you're going to be invited for the second study. But after the study, we do have service, and this one is closed. It's not open, not even if you've done the service, because this is only for those who are working consistently at BSH. And this one is a healing service where you or anyone who is in need can receive treatment. So usually it's 4 weeks treatment, either for physical or spiritual needs. Let us know. We will add this person's name to our books. And we highly encourage that the person who is in treatment knows, so that they can, that they are in treatment, so they can stay in tune, meditate, read the gospel, pray, read something enlightful, but be in tune with us, with the service, so then you can be open to receive the healing that you are looking for. So these are the announcements for today. I do want to introduce the person who is going to speak to us, which is going to be our dearest sister, Adriana. For those who don't know her, she has been an active member of Brazilian Spiritual Healing Center since 2013, and she has been studying spirituality since 2003, long time, with courses in spiritism and spiritualism. Adriana is a mom of a 5-year-old boy and an active member of Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. She volunteers as a coach for international students and young professionals. And today she will speak about something extremely beautiful. Life is precious. So finding hope in the darkest moments. And this is a beautiful way for us to open up this month, where we want to dedicate for those who are in much desperate conditions. So we also want to encourage all of those who are struggling in any shape or form to look for support. And we are support for you as well, although not professional. Please help me to give a very warm welcome to our dear sister Adriana. Thank you so much for being here, sister.
Thank you, Kiki, everybody. Just confirming you can see my screen, Kiki?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy September. And as our dear sister Kiki has mentioned, and I would like to highlight that September is recognized as the Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and often symbolized by the color yellow. Hence my beautiful yellow Zoom background here, symbolizing the sunshine, symbolizing the hope, symbolizing the light that we have upon all of us. And it's also to serve as a reminder to raise awareness. This is so important. Awareness about mental health, encourage conversations about emotional well being, and the importance of our support systems, our friends, our family, our communities, as BSA, the Busy Spiritual Healing Center here online, and of course, professionals. So we need to promote the resources for those who are struggling, uh, and reminding them that no one is alone. Very well said by Akiki, we're not alone. Remember that yellow represents here the hope, the life, the energy, the light that can guide us, individuals that are going through dark moments, dark times, challenges. And we all go through the ups and downs in life. We know life is not linear. And through challenges, we're going to be discussing this very specific topic. How can we grow? What are the resources that we have through the study of Spiritism? That's what we are doing here, to understand how to grow through challenges. So, speaking of dark times, a reminder, this is a very casual, sweet but short chat to remind all of us of how precious life is. And we forget and we take for granted, but that's part of being human. But a friendly reminder is always welcome. So, life is precious, how to overcome the challenges with the Spiritists' teachings. And that's what we do. We, as you learned, we have the many books and doctrines of Allan Kardec, and different books that I have excerpt some uh, some information from to be able to illustrate our conversation today. I start by saying life is a blessing and each trial is an opportunity for growth. Again, this beautiful saying is coming from the Gospel according to Spiritism. So let's face it, all of us face challenges, difficulties. But according to the Spiritist teachings, these afflictions, these challenges are not punishments. So the idea, why me, God? Why do I have to go through those trials? Are not to be perceived as punishments. In reality, these trials are opportunities for the soul to grow. to repair past mistakes, because we do believe in reincarnation, and to build virtues. So we are talking about the ability to um, work on the past mistakes in past lives, through the reincarnation, but also thinking about the future and how can we build virtues for the eternal life. And I like that very much, to give us perspective as to the eternity of life and growth. And the idea of repairing the mistakes are also proofs of God's justice and mercy. But why? Because it does show us the suffering is temporary, it's purposeful, and it's an ultimate healing process. So we go through tribulations and we know it's not going to last forever, nor suffering, nor happiness. It's a moment and it's an experience. But be sure that through those moments, we are seeking for healing. We are seeking for inner transformation. And there is a purpose behind of every and each trial. There is a saying, and I don't remember where I saw this, but it says something like this: suffering is like medicine for the soul. It purifies, strengthens, and elevates it. Now, easy said than done, because as we go through the suffering, which I think was Chico Xavier that said something about pain is inevitable, but the suffering is optional. So there is a difference between the pain that we feel when we lose someone, when we go through a tragedy or a illness or someone very deep challenge. The pain is there and the pain is real and you can feel it in all, pieces of your body and your soul. But the suffering is um, temporary, and it's also the way we can perceive the situation to elevate us through that experience. So it says that each challenge that we face is a step forward towards our spiritual evolution, mission, purpose, that leads us towards a great wisdom, compassion, and eternal happiness. So there are steps that we are going through in order to improve our own evolution through challenges. Because let's be honest here, the times that we grow the most are the times that we're going through challenges. Who really grows if you are in your comfort zone, right? If you are having a good time, and that's wonderful because we go through ups and downs, but the challenging times that really challenge us, that requires the growth. Yeah. So that's, for example, that's what the gospel starts saying by life is a blessing and each trial is an opportunity for growth. So it is the invitation for growth. All right. Now, but why the suffering? Let's go back to the suffering topic here. It says suffering is a school where the soul is tested and improved. So wait a minute. We're talking about life itself is a gift from God, né, to us for our moral and spiritual progress. So our challenges, as I said, they're not punishments, but they are what? Lessons. Yeah? And it says here, life is a blessing, trials an opportunity for growth, suffering not a punishment. Trials are part of God's justice and mercy to allow us to learn, repair mistakes, and growth. Even though through the challenges, there is such a beautiful piece in terms of the divine justice to allow us to repair, and also the mercy of God looking after each of us, children of God, to support us through our challenges. So suffering is a school where the soul is tested and improved. What is school? The school of life. Now we are eternal students of life. And if we think about, as we are, trying to make a comparison or a point of perspective here, if you think life as a classroom, just as the students, they have exams, they have tests to measure their progress within the classroom, within certain subjects, math and English, biology, you name it. The soul, our soul, encounters hardships to develop virtues. And what are the virtues that we are developing through these tests of life? Patience, humility, courage, forgiveness, that's a big one. Yeah. So those qualities that usually grow, they flourish when we're not in our comfort zone, when we are going through tribulations. It's quite an invitation for growth. Difficulties may even come from past actions, as I said, to be able to repair the past. But, Spiritism teaches us through the law of cause and effect, beautiful law of the universe, that are always temporary situations of pain and happiness, and ultimately is aimed to improve our souls, to improve the self. So that's why I like to think why life is precious. It is precious because in this arena here, in this school of life, is where we grow, we learn, we evolve, and every trial is a lesson in the curriculum of our eternal progress. And it's just so fun we're talking about the curriculum when you are making your resume and talking about all your skills, all your qualities, all your past experiences, school, as well as your work experiences. You are basically, I believe, having the opportunity, if you're applying for a job or an internship. I work with a lot of young folks where we are trying to bring into light their skills and abilities to sell themselves, right? And I like to think about this, us as students in the school of life, looking at our resume, our curriculum, and seeing the things that you have done in the past, the lessons that we have learned, and how we have improved, um, how we have grown as we um, go through our journey. So I like that analogy, using us as the students of life, the students of the school of life. Now, facing challenges. So how the question is, how do we face challenges? What are um, the tools that we have? And this is not new to anyone. I don't think it is. But sometimes we forget, so it's nice to go over and remind us all of the tools and resources available through spiritism and through life as we learn. So the
Super.
spiritism, go
Quick,
ahead.
sorry, a quick thing. If you are not sharing any screen, are you?
Oh, it's showing on my end that's sharing. I wonder.
It's not from us. Can
Oh,
everybody see it?
let me do it again.
It stopped for me.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
Sure.
Okay, do you see
Yeah, there
now?
you go. Now you can see. Yes.
So let me put here, is it big screen
Yes.
now?
Big
Continue.
screen.
Boom,
Yes.
boom, boom.
Life is pressure. Life is suffering. Is school. Yes. There you go.
Okay,
Earthly
thank you.
trials.
For some reason,
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but thank you.
Sure.
Okay, so facing challenges. Ay, ay, ay. How? How do we face challenges? And we're talking about how spiritism, as one of the tools, learning spiritism. My son having the patience here, learning to. Spiritism teaches us that trials are not meaningless. They have a purpose. I love this. These are the tools that we can use to develop some virtues, as I mentioned, patience, faith, big one, resilience, never give up, you know. So we are never ever abandoned. Please remember this. Spirits have endured hardships to tell us. If you read the Spiritist book and other books, including Heaven and Hell, that talks about the peace, the inner peace, doesn't come from avoiding pain, which we normally do. We try to avoid the pain, but from accepting the trust in God. So when you read the doctrine and you're talking about the happy spirits, the ones that have found serenity through trials, is when you understand that in face of illness, poverty, injustice, um, acceptance and faith transform suffering into merit. There is a saying in Portuguese we say, aceita que dói menos. In other words, accept, it's less painful. Again, easy said than done, but when we come to the acceptance of those trials that we're discussing, the acceptance is a key instrument there to allow us to have a different perspective for um, moving through the trial. So Kardec always reminds us, God never imposes a burden without providing the means of bearing it. In other words, if we resist or rebel against all the trials, we are prolonging suffering, you know. So it says that attitude matters. How am I positioning myself facing those trials? Do I have the challenges? Yes, we all do in different shapes and forms. Do I have tools? Yes. Should I use those tools? Absolutely. And that comes with humility. We're talking about looking for help, in our communities, in our support systems. Yeah? So that's an opportunity also to develop, recognizing one, you need help. Number two, who are the people that I can look for help and seek for that help. And coming to the tools again, what else do we have other than, for example, this meeting today and the other sources that we have available? Prayer is one of the tools. Meditation, and remember that prayer is not a formula. There's not a recipe that you must follow. Again, such an intimate time with God, or whatever it is that you believe. It's a sincere dialogue with God. What is it that you are wanting to vent, to explain, to ask? Uh, and through prayer, remember, we also attract good influences. You can clean your mind, you can gain strength through trials, and also through meditation, that moment of silence, calming the inner turmoil and listen to inspirations of the spirit world. So that's where we're talking about the alignment. That's where we're talking about connection and allowing those downloads, as we call, to happen as through the meditation, because that's when we are in silence, the inner silence. Another piece that's key, and we talk about it in our studies, charity and services. Kardec says outside charity there is no salvation. And when we think about serving others, allows us to transform our suffering into compassion. Because let's be honest, when we are in pain, your pain is the worst in the world. you know, it's 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 in every fiber of your being. You feel the suffering, right? You're going through that challenge. It's in your physical body, it's in your emotional, spiritual, bodies. But again, if we can think about the suffering of others and allowing to act kindly towards others, we are also connecting us to the divine love that reminds us that we're not alone. When you start looking at other people's suffering, you say, wow, I had no idea. Okay? So, again, challenging, but it is one of the keys here that they are bringing to light. The other one, that's what we're doing right now, it's studying spiritism. Again, another super important tool to understand life's trials, death, and the afterlife, giving us perspective as to what we've done, where we have been, and where we can go. And really, not to make it this about the topic, but bring into attention the awareness, the suicide. How does the spiritism faces suicide? It says that suicide only changes the nature of suffering. So suffering is already happening. It only changes the nature. In other words, it does not end it. you know. But yet, I love this. Divine mercy always offers new paths for redemption. There's always time to regret and to redeem oneself, because through the ability of multiple lives, we are able to repair the actions from the past. So it is crucial in this moment in time, with all the challenge that our countries, the world is going through, that when suicide happens, unfortunately, it interrupts the natural law of progress, of the eternal journey. But spiritists, we describes here in the books that the regret and the suffering that follows um, through the spiritism also offers what? Hope and rehabilitation. I like this, hope and rehabilitation. You know, and life, even when we are going through the challenges, has meaning and purpose. There's a purpose. There's a divine purpose behind of all this creation. And by choosing to endure, to seek help, to not give in, we align ourselves with God's plan, and we open the doors to healing and growth. And remember, we are never, ever, ever alone. So, let's summarize all this conversation in a way that we can put into practice. I like that. Um, Getting what's in theory and how do I put into practice within my community, within my family members, my work, the people that I interact with, the community that I live in. How can we turn trials into growth? What are the practical um, tools? So life is sacred. We know that it's a gift. It was given to us. Challenges are not walls. Né? They are stepping stones to what? Because every trial strength virtues and prepare us for what? For the true happiness. Yeah. Kardec reminds us never, ever, ever forget that each day is an opportunity to begin again. I love this. Every day we have the opportunity to start over. Even when life feels overwhelming, we are supported not only through prayers, but divine guidance, intuition, but also through our family, our BSH family, our soul family, our friends, and professional support. Yeah? We are never meant to walk this journey alone. So, I want to leave you all with some thoughts that I try to summarize for me to start this week with those thoughts and see how I am behaving, how I am influencing the environment around me. Some thoughts. Life is a precious journey filled with lessons that shape who we are and who we will become. Work in progress. Yeah? Every challenge is temporary, but the brings the growth that it brings is eternal, because we are eternal beings, right? If you are struggling, seek support, please, from prayer, from family, from friends, from professionals. Our dear sister Kiki shared with us a number of support through education that BSH offers. So help is also the reflection of God's care for us. Again, help is a reflection of God's care for us. He cares for us through many ways. And seeking for help and receiving help, you're also giving someone the opportunity to serve. It's beautiful. Everybody wins. And remember, please, each sunrise is a reminder that we can begin again. Life is sacred, and you are never ever alone. With that said, my friends, with my very yellow sunshine background here to remind us that we're never alone, that God loves us, right? We are the children of God. And even with all the tribulations, there's always a divine purpose to support, to love us through the journey that aims out spiritual evolution. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and being in this journey with me. Have a beautiful day, everybody.
Thank you,
Little
sister.
heart.
There's this little effect here. Thank you so much, sister. I think this is it was beautiful how you brought the perspective of being pragmatic with life, because as you said, we are all going through many challenges, right? I read this, there's a little bit of humor on that. But I read something this week that was saying everything will pass. Sometimes it passes over you, but it passes. It also goes. Sometimes, like, but I think that the most important thing out of everything that you said that it's taking with me is the pain is there, and sometimes it feels unbearable, right? And that's the part that we have to be really careful for us not to dwell on this unbearable situation, and look for help, look for support, do the three big things that you mentioned for prayer, serve. Whenever we have charity, we right, like we learn how to become more compassionate, not only to ourselves but also to others, and study, so then we can shift away from that unbearable situation to something that we learn, that eventually we will learn how to deal with. um so it's beautiful. And also the other thing too is, if we know that someone might be in a very depressing moment, what we can do is to reach out, send a message, check in on the person. There are the, I won't remember all the three, but I know there are three C's. There is connection, collaboration. I will say compassion, but I don't know. Compassion, compassion. Um, so the first step is, of course, we have to be very careful for us not to bring to us the how to be the support, but just to support a person in terms of you're not alone, and then ask for help, ask for professional support, ask for help. So that's the thing. Thank you so much, sister. You, as always, you gracefully brought a beautiful hug to our heart. Thank you.
I wanted to say about challenges. To me, every day, or every other day, you're going to get one at least once a week, a challenge. It's so funny because I have I have the new neighbors, and I'm not sure they're supposed to have dogs there, right? And they have this dog that just barks every minute. Ugh. And it just drives me nuts because they'll leave it out there for 2 or 3 hours. So one day I asked the guy, I said, can you please just kind of calm it down a little bit? You don't have to leave him out there quite that long. Well, the other day the kids were out here playing, and I took something and I set it down. I didn't even go outside. I set it outside the door, and the kid was on high alert. I'm sorry. I said, you're okay. You didn't do anything. And so when I saw the father, I was going to bring his attention to about the dog. First thing he does, well, the kids were there. I said, the kids did nothing wrong. How do you? But in their mind, it's just gone. It's too late. I can't fix it. I can't, whatever. But it's disturbing for them to be on this high alert on a misunderstanding. I never said anything. And what originated, the kids were throwing rocks at my window. I didn't want them to break it, so I hollered, "Stop!" So now that's what really put them on that high alert. But still, they haven't done anything crazy. They haven't done anything against me at all. But anyway, and so that's a challenge to me to work with that, to work with my neighbors, to stay in peace and harmony, because it's important, because you don't want any extra energy being thrown at you. So, I mean, but it happens all throughout. It could be somebody in line at a grocery store, that little simple misunderstanding is always a challenge, but the ticket is, how do you handle it? How do you handle it? And so I'm trying to be thankful and graceful and just glide through it, with peace. With peace. What'd she say? Sorry about her camera. We lost her.
We lost her for some reason. Yeah. She might be- yeah. Yeah,
But-
that's true, sister.
Yeah, I don't think they're avoidable. We all get them. And I think, as they say, it's your test. Pass your test.
Yeah, and as she said, attitude matters.
It really does. It's a big deal. Anyone else? Not a camera shy people, huh?
Thank you. I want only to thank for this nice presentation. And here was something very important for me, the prayer, and that is a sincere talk to God. And that is very important when we are praying and we are in our silence talking to God. We should get the answer when we are sincere and when we are in our silence and forget about anything else in the world. And when we don't get the answer, that is a sign that our prayer is not right, is not sincere, or we dialed the wrong number. You have correct us. Thank you very much.
And Mohsen, you reminded me about something that that came to my mind while Adriana was saying, which is sometimes when we are in the middle of a very tough situation where we can't find a way out, and sometimes we pray, but sometimes we also need to pray with like a little bit more of energy. And I don't even know how to explain that, but most of the times, and at least for me, the prayer is peaceful and quiet, and like I try to build that connection. But sometimes we have to bring the emotion with us and really bend the knee, like get down on your knees and say, Lord, out loud, Lord, I need your help. Get it out of your chest. You know what I'm saying? Like bring it in, bring the energy in and say, I need help. Help me, God. But that brings a little bit of the resignation that sometimes we have to have, because we keep holding that. Like, that's okay, I got it. But then we know that deep inside we don't. And at the end of the day, sometimes we are just buried with so much pain and suffering that we can't get out of that. So that's one of the things that I see in, depending on the church that we go. There are some churches where people are screaming all around. My goodness, can we be just a little bit more quiet here? But sometimes that's what we all need. Like we need to bring that passion, we need to bring that energy to get us out of the situation that sometimes we are kind of in trance. So if we feel, or if whoever is listening to this feel like you are in this moment of trance, get yourself out of that by bending your knee, resign to God, and scream for help. That will come. There is no prayer without answer. And I'm positive about that. I'm really positive about that.
Yeah, I agree with that one.
So I was caught when she said walls are not obstacles, or obstacles are not walls. And I recently read in a book, it wasn't a Spiritist book, the woman said walls are actually doors, and or obstacles are actually doorways. And I just add that, and it's up to us to find the doorknob. That does require effort. And in that, we can interpret, like Gina was describing, kind of the suffering that is involved with that. But I think Adriana brought us a lot of hope and consolation, as she says, we're never alone. We are always getting assistance. It's just what assistance are we accepting? And this too shall pass. So when I wanted to tell her, I thought her background, the yellow sunrise or sunshine, was really very appropriate for today's topic and for this month. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. All right, does anybody have any additional comments, questions? We're good? All right. Okay, great. So we will have 2 minutes break, and then we can be back for the second part, the hands-on healing. Please make sure to have a bottle of water with you so it can be